Diamond, I ain't gonna stop until Jannard's dead.
I'm not gonna let you kill my brother, Tommy.
Whole lot of shit you didn't think I was gonna pull off, D. And I did.
Now, today we're going to be talking all things episode 9, 2 exclusive clips that were just released, which centers around the theme of brotherhood. Both clips from Big Gold Belt Media and Black and Film TV will be linked down below in the description section and in the comment section. We have one clip between Tommy and Diamond, where Tommy wants Diamond to offer up Jannard, a brother for a brother, which does sound like a fair trade to Tommy. And in the second clip, something we ironically just spoke about in yesterday's breakdown, which centered around Jannard and D-Mac. But we had a section in that breakdown on Marshall as well. Who was Jannard's next target, and who could he potentially take out next? How Jannard would most likely ask Marshall to take out D-Mac, and how that would put him not just in a very sticky dilemma, but probably end up with Jannard killing Marshall as well. Now, as the theme is brotherhood, we are also going to be speaking a little about Tariq St. Patrick, and if Marshall is to be taken off the chessboard in episode 9, does that then potentially leave a void to fill, where we would then see a new brotherhood form in D-Mac and Tariq. We're definitely going to be coming back around to that right at the end, so we are going to be running through the confirmation of Jannard asking Marshall to kill D-Mac, why I think Marshall will protect D-Mac, and why I think that will most likely end in his death, as well as the clip between Tommy and Diamond. So a lot to unpack, a lot to discuss in terms of brotherhood going into the home stretch for all things Power Book 4 Force Season 3. Now, as usual, because there are 2 exclusive clips, we are going to be breaking this video down into 2 parts. First up, the conversation between Tommy and Diamond.
How did we get here, Tommy? Shit was going
So good. Well, Jannard's the reason we're here.
Again, the full clip from Big Old Belt Media will be linked down below in the description section and in the comment section for those who want to watch the full conversation, but we definitely will be unpacking it here. Now, we know what went down towards the end of episode 8, a heartbreaking moment when Jannard killed JP, not just Tommy's brother, but also D-Mac's pops. And we do still need to see that reaction from D-Mac, him finding out about JP's death. It really will be a heartbreaking moment when Tommy delivers the news. I'm sure we're going to see him hurt, heartbroken, but angry and full of revenge at the same time, just like Tommy is here. We've got Tommy here in conversation talking to Diamond, basically questioning how did they get here? They built a good business relationship since Tommy got to Chicago, they had a good thing going with their business under Che, they were taking over the city, and they were pretty much one step away from becoming the only connect in Chicago, which would have happened if Tommy never threw Miguel a lifeline. Tommy also mentioned that they could still have the city, they can still take over, which I personally disagree with. I think too much damage has been done over these past few episodes and throughout Season 3, also dating back to Season 2. Too many moves have been made behind each other's backs for them to start working together again. I don't think Shanti or Miguel would ever be down with working with the CBI either, because frankly, there is no trust. And when there's no trust, especially in a game like this, it just simply does not work. Both are no doubt definitely to blame. Tommy isn't a saint either because he's kept secrets from Diamond, he's made moves behind Diamond's back as well, but for majority of the time, Tommy's moves have actually leveled CBI up. Not taking them back was like Diamond's move with the fentanyl deal with the Chinese. That's a deal that will undo all their hard work because of the consequences of that particular product. You have dead bodies in the streets, it attracts more law enforcement, it's not really a long-term option. Whereas with Tommy, he came up with a move to burn down Miguel's product, which then allowed them to poach the Albanians. He's the one who wanted to move very quick on the Serbs crew. That would have been up for grabs after Merkovic's death, using the guns to poach the Assyrians to make Miguel weaker, but also the CBI stronger. Diamond's move with the fentanyl, that was just him wanting to make a move behind Tommy's back, to show that he was still in charge of CBI. But mainly, it was Jannard trying to get into Diamond's mind and constantly whispering in his ear. That's one of the main reasons why they find themselves here. Not just in terms of the tear in their business partnership, but because of the death of JP. Jannard is the cause of both. He's the main reason despite everything what we've just been through, and Tommy does warn Diamond. He does want him dead. It has to be a brother for a brother. Jannard killed JP, so Tommy now wants Diamond to serve up Jannard, which we know he won't. He's probably going to tell Jannard that he's an idiot for killing JP. He should have just let King Kilo handle it, because that means Tommy will now be coming for them. Although you do also have to think, would Shanti's seed that she planted towards the end of episode 8 end up giving Diamond something to think about? Maybe he was too drunk to even remember, but Jannard has been plotting to kill Diamond for a very long time, even though that was Shanti's plan. And you could tell Jannard was very hesitant. He was plotting behind Diamond's back, but he was never quite sure it was Shanti's plan, but it definitely is now a seed that's been planted in Diamond's mind. So I do wonder if Diamond will confront Jannard about what Shanti said in the boxing ring. Just a side plot I do think was worth a mention, considering the theme of this breakdown is brotherhood. Now, Diamond does tell Tommy that he's not just going to hand over Jannard because that's his brother, so Tommy does leave him with a stern warning. He's not going to stop coming after Jannard, and he is going to kill him. Which he definitely will, or rather I think it's actually going to be D-Mac's kill, because once Jannard is done in episode 9 making even more crazy insane moves, I do think D-Mac will have to be the one who pulled the trigger on Jannard. Not just for JP, but also for Marshall. We're going to come to that in just a moment. With Tommy, no doubt he's going to stop at nothing until Jannard is dead, and Diamond knows it. Diamond knows when Tommy has his eyes for something, similar to the Liliana situation. Nobody is going to get in his way, including Diamond. Now their brotherhood is strong for now. Diamond isn't giving up Jannard. We'll see if Shanti's Seed of Doubt does come into play, but they are also going to be making a move to strengthen, and they'll definitely have to. Tommy's on their back end, also because their coalition is pretty much broken beyond repair. Jannard and Diamond will also be facing questions around King Kilo and the RDs. They've also lost a lot of crews as of late, so we are going to see them making a move with the Marquez cartel, who also want Tommy dead, which is kind of a smart move, but dumb at the same time, joining forces with someone who has the same enemy. However, the problem with that is, Jannard and Diamond have no idea what they're getting themselves into on two fronts. Messing with another cartel who will be happy to send both of them a Mexican passion flower if they don't deliver on their promise, that's number one. Number two, these guys are the rivals of the Estrada cartel, who Diamond is in business with. So I do expect this scene to come after Tommy comes to see Diamond. It will force Jannard and Diamond's hand to team up with Roberto Ortega and the Marquez cartel on the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. But Tommy's given his warning just like he gave to Claudia back in season 2. He wants Jannard dead, he's not going to stop until justice is served, and Diamond knows it too. That's the conversation between Tommy and Diamond and what I expect to follow. Now what about Jannard's next move going forward?
You gonna have to put the D-Mac to bed, bro.
Why me, Jay?
What the fuck you think? You a green light for this shit or not? This is what?
That's my brother.
Now, this is something we just spoke about, which is Jannard asking Marshall to kill D-Mac, and here's the confirmation. The reason why we spoke about it in my Jannard and D-Mac breakdown was because you could just tell where they were going with this relationship after they had that falling out, where Marshall chose CBI and D-Mac chose to side with his uncle Tommy. And then when you add in Jannard into the equation, who is completely nuts at this moment in time, you put 2 plus 2 together, you don't get a Tejada 2 plus 2, you get a MovieBot 2 plus 2. Who would Jannard's next target end up being? D-Mac, which would then turn into Marshall. However, the theme of both of these clips and this particular breakdown is brotherhood, and that's the problem for Marshall. We've got Jannard telling Marshall that he needs to kill D-Mac. Jannard wants Marshall to be the one to kill D-Mac because he's the one who can get close enough to get the job done. But you can tell Marshall is very hesitant. He tells Jannard that that's his brother because he still is. At the end of the day, despite what we saw between Marshall and D-Mac in episode 8, they are still brothers. We've seen Ghost and Tommy fight, Tariq and Braden fight, Kanan and Famous in Raising Kanan. The same applies to D-Mac and Marshall. Just because Marshall kicked D-Mac out of his apartment in episode 8, it doesn't mean that they're not brothers. We have seen them fight before, which is back in season 1. You can tell that Marshall feels very uneasy about Jannard asking him to kill D-Mac, but Jannard is seriously unhinged at this moment in time. He wants to go for the kill and ask Marshall, are you CBI or not? And he is CBI, he did choose CBI in episode 8, but I do think he may just be beginning to regret that choice, or if he doesn't, he definitely will. Because this just solidifies my theory around Jannard's next kill and target being Marshall. I personally don't think Marshall will kill D-Mac. In fact, I do think Marshall will most likely protect D-Mac, just like he said in episode 8.
Shot me. Jannard that tried to set us up with the 9-7s.
He tried to set you up.
How the f we supposed to handle our business if we ain't looking out for each other first? I'm always looking out for you.
He's always protecting D-Mac. In episode 8, he did say it was time to put himself first and put his mom first. However, again, the clues were always there from this conversation and the conversation earlier on in the season when Tommy burst into this apartment. I do think he will protect D-Mac again in episode 9, which will only contribute towards his own death. Unfortunately, I do think Jannard's next target and victim will be Marshall, and it's going to be because he refuses to kill D-Mac. I also want to go back to something Chris Lofton tweeted, which is what we went through in my previous breakdown. He does seem like he's relishing playing the villain and putting himself next to Dre, and I do think he's going to go one step further. I was joking around with Chris Lofton on X post episode 8, and I did mention fans will never forgive Jannard. He's going to be walking down the streets in 10 years time, and some power fans will come up to him and say, why did you have to do JP like that? But I do think that will now be extended to Marshall as well after he rips away this brotherhood from D-Mac. Over the past few weeks, we've also been speaking about how there were 3 characters in big danger when it comes to D-Mac. That was JP, Marshall, and Genesis. He was way too smiley and happy in episode 7, finally getting the girl of his dreams, rebuilding this relationship with JP and Kate. Things were just going way too well for him, and we know that never lasts in the world of power. Well, JP's been taken away in episode 8, and in my opinion, now we're about to see Marshall be taken away as well. What would be even more crazy is if at the Red funeral, Jannard also shoots Genesis. Honestly, you cannot put anything past this character at this moment in time, and that's why Jannard's death just simply has to be at the hands of D-Mac. He's already killed JP, and if the next one in Marshall is correct as well, if anything happens to Genesis, that's honestly going to break D-Mac. He's going to be absolutely heartbroken. But at the same time, it's like setting off a firework as well. D-Mac will absolutely go off, and have no mistake, Jannard definitely isn't making it come the end of Force. D-Mac will be the one to put the end to this madness. I just think after episode 9, if it doesn't happen in episode 9, if Jannard somehow manages to make it to episode 10, then for a whole week, this man right here will definitely be the most wanted man on Power. There's going to be posters everywhere on social media with Jannard's face with the caption, "Wanted." Now on Tariq, you also have to kind of think if they are taking Marshall away, and if they're taking this brotherhood away from D-Mac, the whole theme of these two clips and this particular breakdown being brotherhood, are they actually setting it up for D-Mac to lose his brother, but just to gain a new one in Tariq when they eventually cross paths? Gianni, who played Brayden, has been quite vocal on how he doesn't want to be known as just Brayden Weston, how he wants to try new things. He mentioned he doesn't mind popping up for an episode or two, but if there's no Brayden and Tariq going forward, if there's no Marshall for D-Mac, with both of them being Tommy's nephews, you guys definitely know where I'm going with this one. Is that what they're setting up by taking away Marshall from D-Mac? Are they setting the stage for a new brotherhood to form that then takes Power forward into Power Legacy in the form of Tariq and D-Mac, both of them being under the guidance of Uncle Tommy? Definitely something to ponder and just some food for thought going into the home stretch. We all want to see them cross paths, we all want to see Tariq and D-Mac in action, and with the way the story is going, as I just mentioned around taking Marshall away and Brayden not returning, is it now all poised to see the brotherhood between Tariq and D-Mac? So that's the question I'm going to leave you guys with this one. So the floor is now yours. Those are the two exclusive clips going into episode 9, which is centered all around brotherhood. Do you guys think the end is near for Marshall? Or in a twist, could Marshall even help save D-Mac by setting up Jannard? That's always a possibility. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.